Good afternoon to you. We will now deal with CCSH rules, exclusively for section officer and private secretaries and other non-participating agencies like AFHQ, External Affairs, IB, and Railways. These are disciplinary rules in continuation. In the last class we have seen penalties under Rule 11 of CCSH rules 1965. Prior to that, we have seen to whom the CCSH rules do not apply, what are the powers of the president, what is the purpose of these rules, and what is the definition of appointing authority, appellate authority, disciplinary authority, and what do you mean by suspension, what is deemed suspension, and a few Government of India decisions under suspension. Then we have seen Rule 11, that is the penalties. In the penalties, we have seen minor penalty. And we have also identified how do you differ, how do you distinguish between minor penalty and major penalty. I told you minor penalties are very simple. That is, one is what is known as censure, withholding of promotion, recovery from pay, reduction to a lower stage, one stage, for a period not exceeding 3 years without cumulative effect and without affecting the pension benefits, and finally withholding of increments. Up to this we said it is minor penalty, and whatever we are expected to get, if it is snatched away, that is minor, and what we have already got, and if it is taken away, it is major. And of course this analogy is mine own. It is not, you cannot find it, these things in any book. My own analogy, and it is properly fit in, except one. The reduction to a lower stage, one stage for not exceeding 3 years without cumulative effect and without affecting the pension benefits. Technically, it is not a minor penalty because it deprives you of what you have already got. That is not the intention of minor penalty. However, it was added additionally, and prior to 2004 it was not there, it was added subsequently, and now, however, the fact remains it is a minor penalty. So remember, up to this minor penalty. Now we will see what are the major penalties. First is reduction to a lower stage. Kindly follow closely, it is very confusion area. I will explain you any number of times if you put it in the comments box. And number one, that is the minor penalty category number one. I have told you the analogy, whatever we have already got, if it is deprived of, that is major. So what is the first major penalty? Reduction to a lower stage for a specified period. What is the crux? Reduction to a lower stage for a specified period with further directions whether the government servant will or will not earn the increments during the period of such reduction, and whether on expiry of such period the reduction will or will not have the effect of postponing the future increments. The very crux here, reduction to a lower stage, only monetary loss. Remember, it is only monetary loss. You are getting now example only, 30,000 is your pay, level 4, level 5, whatever level. We give only an example. Now your increment is, let us say, 500 rupees. 30,000 is reduced to 25,500. So it is reduction to a lower stage. And remember, for a specified period, it cannot be indefinite. You cannot say you will completely remain entire service only in 25,500. No, for a specified period. So reduction to a lower stage. What it should strike in your mind? It is monetary. For a specified period, it is not indefinite period. For a specified period. with the further direction. Further direction is a must. What are the direction? On 2 count you should give direction. What is that count? Number 1. Whether the official will or will not earn the increment during the period of reduction. What is, let us say, the reduction is for 1 year, as let us say 2 years. During these 2 years, what is the rule? Under FR 26, if you complete 12 months, you are entitled for an increment. The reduction is for 2 years. So, after spending 1 year, you will get the next increment or not. Whether during the period of this reduction of 2 years, whether the government servant will earn the increment or not. First direction you should give in the order of penalty. Secondly, whether on expiry of such a period, after these 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, the reduction will or will not have the effect of postponing the further increment. This 2 years reduction after this, these 2 years will have cumulative effect of postponing the future increment, or you will be restored after 2 years as if you have already got, but only a financial loss for 2 years. What is the intention of the disciplinary authority? This you should make clear in the order of punishment. Most important, this penalty is subject to 3A. Because 3A we have told, reduction to a lower stage, only one stage for a period not exceeding 3 years. So, subject to 3A, the penalty in 5 is given. Again I am reading, just to kindly hear carefully. Reduction to a lower stage for a specified period with further direction, whether the government servant will or will not earn the increments during the period of this reduction, and whether on expiry of such reduction period, the reduction will or will not have the effect of postponing the future increments or not. Here the most important point is, reduction in stage involves only monetary loss, no status loss. No status loss. If you are an SO, you remain as SO. You incur only a monetary loss. Distinguish between reduction in stage and reduction in rank. Reduction in stage, only monetary loss. Next we are coming to the next higher penalty. What is that? Number 1. Reduction to a lower time scale of pay, grade, post or service. All the 4-1, I have already told you, appointing authority who is competent to make appointment in the post, grade, service or grade. All the 4 is same. So, reduction to a lower time scale of pay, grade, post or service. Remember, this is reduction in rank. Reduction to a lower time scale of pay, grade, post or service. I am assistant. I am reduced to UDC. It is a, what is it? It is a status loss more than the salary loss. First one is monetary loss. Here rank is reduced. So, reduction to a lower time scale of grade, post or service for a specified period. Again, it cannot be indefinite. Suppose a undersecretary is reduced to the assistant where he was directly recruited. It cannot be permanent. Earlier it was, but now it is not permanent. For a specified period, which shall be a bar, which shall be an embargo for re-promotion of the government servant during such a period to the time scale of pay, grade or post or service from which he was reduced. Suppose, kindly follow, this is very confused area. Suppose a person under secretary, he was reduced to section officer for 3 years, mean during that 3 years he cannot be re-promoted to the post from which he was reduced. Again I reading it, reduction to a lower time scale of pay, grade, post or service for a specified period, it is not indefinite, which shall be a bar, which shall be an embargo, which shall be a bar to re-promotion during such a period of reduction to the time scale of pay grade post service from which you was reduced. Okay? Now with directions, as in the case of similar, with direction, there are two directions to be given. Whether or not on promotion on expiry of, whether on promotion on expiry of the said period, see 3 years means after that he is again going back to the only, the bar is only for a temporary period. Let us say that 3 years means 3 years reduction in rank means after 3 years he will be reverted back, he will be promoted to the under secretary. So during when he is promoted to the under secretary, you should clarify 2 points. Whether the period of reduction will postpone the future increments, and if so, to what extent. He would, but for his reversion to the lower post, he would have earned the increment. So whether you are going to restore that increment or not, if you want to postpone it, to what extent you will postpone, number one. Number two, whether the government servant will regain his original seniority in the higher time scale of pay post or service after restoration. What about his seniority and what about his salary? Whether these 3 years will have the effect of postponing the future increments or not. Here you should remember, you should think that this is reduction in rank, where the government servants' status is lost. Status is lost. First is only salary loss. Here it is status, rank is, so reduction in stages vis-a-vis reduction in rank. So now next, compulsory retirement from service. Don't confuse with premature retirement, which is very popular nowadays. Not premature retirement. This is compulsory retirement from service as a result of penalty. What is the difference between premature retirement and compulsory retirement? That we will deal when we deal with the pension rules. As far as this is concerned, remember, compulsory retirement from service as a result of penalty, after imposing the penalty, after following the prescribed procedure, major penalty. Then removal from service, which shall not be a disqualification for future employment under the state. Removal from service, which shall not be a disqualification for future employment under the government. Then comes finally dismissal from service, which shall ordinarily be a disqualification for future employment under the government. Now there are all graded penalties. Remember, all are graded. Now what is the difference between removal and dismissal? It is itself, it has been given. A person removed from service is not barred for future employment under the government. Whereas dismissal from service, it shall ordinarily be a disqualification for future employment under the government. Number one. Dismissal for disloyalty. Dismissal for disloyalty. Dismissal for corruption. You cannot contest election. Not only you cannot be re-employed in any government job, you cannot contest election if the dismissal is as a result of corruption or disloyalty. In these two count, if the person is dismissed, you cannot, you are debarred under RPA 1951, you are debarred from contesting election. And all the details of the dismissed employees are circulated among all recruiting units. All recruiting units it is circulated. So, this, and you forfeit pension. You forfeit pension, both removal and dismissal, you forfeit pension. Of course, you can be granted what is popularly known as compassionate allowance. It is an allowance, called allowance, but really it is a pension. So that can be granted not on a mercy on you, but on the basis of the mercy on your family. That is the difference between removal and dismissal. Then comes one important point. If the charge against the government servant is possession of wealth disproportionate to known source of income, proportionate, if the charge is against the government servant is possession of wealth disproportionate to known source of income, or if it is a illegal gratification, corruption. In one word, it is a corruption, bribery. If the charge is bribery, then the minimum penalty that should be issued is removal or dismissal. They have mentioned the penalty itself, which is apparently, to my view, it is not correct. It should be based on the evidences. So, but here the rule says you cannot claim that the rules are bad. It is my interpretation that such a prejudged conclusion may not be correct. It may not stand in the in the scrutiny of by a court, because you cannot prejudge it. According to the rule, if the charge is possession of wealth disproportionate to known source of income or illegal gratification, if it is proved, of course, the minimum penalty is removal or dismissal. So, this is subject to another. Suppose you do not want to impose these two penalties, then you are free to ignore, provided you give the reasons why you are not imposing these two penalties on a person who has been charged and proved of illegal gratification and possession of wealth disproportionate to known source of income. Then you have to give the reasons in file. So, in nutshell, as a student, remember, you have to impose only these two penalties if the charges of illegal gratification, bribery, and what is known as possession of wealth disproportionate to known source of income is proved. These are all the minimum penalty. If you want to deviate from the minimum penalty, you should state the reasons in file in writing. That's all. Very simple. So, up to this, we have seen what are the minor penalty, what are the major penalty. We will continue with other in the next class tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you.